Welcome again, Keepers of Light, and I call you that because you are just that. Keepers of Light. I hope you all are doing well. I am a little bit congested, so if it sounds like I'm nasally, then it is because I am. So, I don't know where to begin. There's so much that's been going on in the background of me, whenever I'm not showing up here on camera, but I am here every day in the portal. And it is where I conduct my work. It is where I check in to ground myself into this reality, which itself is shifting in that way that my perception of it has shifted. So with this shift, I'm noticing that it's becoming clearer to me what my mission codes are as pertaining to you, keepers of light. The rest of you who those of you who stumble on here and then find resonance within the words that I speak. I don't expect that it will be everyone, because this type of work and this type of existence is really unique, and it is not a it's not for everyone, is what I'm saying. It's almost like, like if you consider, like, everyone serves everybody serves a purpose. You got everyone doing different types of work to create a reality. When you're looking at a reality and what is consistent of, and all the different functions and all the different services, and if we're looking at human beings and their purpose and what it is that we offer to one another, all of us have uniqueness in that. However, there are, like, how you would consider, people who work in PR, and then you got people who work as doctors, or in the hospitality business, or we've got the builders, but we've also got the architects. And when it comes to keepers of light, that would be the closest that I can think of who we are and what we represent in this particular realm of reality. And this means that our work really exists in the most subtle of ways, which means in the most unrecognized of ways. So there isn't really that much, what do you call it? Like, there isn't much applause. there isn't there isn't that much notoriety uh, surrounding this, but at the same time, there is a lot of there are a lot of blessings to be had and to be experienced. And so I am honored to be able to express these words, to have come into my remembrance of my mission codes in that way, that I can come on here and clarify and get better at expressing, connecting to those words that will eventually, or are now, helping you to also remember. And the remembering isn't something that I'm doing, it is something that has always been there, that you are just kind of reconnecting to. So listening to me helps, because my field of frequency exists in that same resonance point that you connect to, that you can connect to, which is why it would resonate. And in that connection point, you are really just allowing yourself to reacquaint yourself with those aspects of your incarnation, which have come here to serve the purpose of laying the foundation the vibrational and frequency point vibrations to the new realities that are looking to now emerge and be sustained within a timeline of existence that is being called forth as a result of the evolutionary moment of time that we are in. So there's really not much to do except to remember, which is really like a weird thing to say. And so it's almost like undoing, undoing, undoing those things that were kind of kept or served as layers of protection against you stepping into who you really are. Just want to sit with that. It is a process of coming home, because who you are as a keeper of light, it is what you have been doing all along. You have been keeping the light in your mere existence alone, because the encoding that you carry is such that you emanate forth the sustaining structures of those cohesive properties that are now coming together, and that in your existence you've been really holding the frequencies so that they can right now serve to come together in the fashion that they are, because we are all now becoming conscious weavers of reality. Oh, no, I can't stop smiling. We are conscious weavers of realities. And it does require exactly what I've been saying before, what I've been saying for these last few years. It does require that we learn how to quiet the noise of the existence that is very loud, because it is very dense, and it is perceptively more solid in nature. So those elements of reality which are loud because they're loud, like, when we address those factors that would have our focus be on that versus the subtle knowingness that is which exists at that level, that we are already working with and allowing to work through us. I am here, I call this portal the portal of awareness, keeper of light, portal of awareness, because I am here reminding you to refocus yourself to those elemental aspects of your existence that have always existed as a supporting structure to the realities that you've entered into. If you are receiving these words and feeling as though they're making sense to you, then it is because you are connecting to the most basic level frequencies of existence. So, what the guides have been showing me is how we've come here to, we've always been weaving this new reality from the point of birth, but that we are now becoming conscious that we are, and in that case it means we're stepping into more power than we were before, into doing it more openly, doing it more consciously, doing it with awareness. And I serve as one of the original blueprints of architecture of that sustains realities. And so my field and my field, my energetic field is now, because I'm bringing focus of awareness back to myself as serving this purpose, then my field of reality is expanding. And in that way, it is serving its purpose so that it can be extended almost like a river. Like, if you consider yourself like a river, and or if I consider myself like a river, then it's like my stream of energy now flows onto yours, but you have your own individual stream of energy that you work with. And it is this cohesive draw to one another that is occurring at this point. And this is the level of support that we've been looking for within this realm of existence, but it is not what we have needed. And so that is why we have had to go through this experience very isolated. It's not the only reason, but that it was a way for us to do the work. Like, we can't learn a frequency if you're in the frequency. So, the existence of the keeper of light is such that we're kind of like, we're in this world, but we're not really necessarily of this world. We're in it, and we are engaged within it as well as we can, holding the codes and holding the original blueprints and holding them long enough so that they sustain the structure, and that eventually we become a cohesive unit of existence that lays out the groundwork for that which is being developed and that which will be built into the structural existence. Now, I don't know. I mean, I do know. I do know that this will make sense to those of you that it is meant to make sense to, because those are the ones who are actually needed for this. Those are the ones who are and who have been who it has been architect for them to receive these words at this period of time. And so it is my pleasure to speak them, and I look forward to I look forward to coming on here again with fresh new messages for you that will be in alignment to our work together, because we serve a purpose that is greater in value than is being and has been allowed to be recognized as such. But we don't necessarily need that. And that's, I guess that would be the point to one of the points to this. One of the points to this is that learning that we did not and do not need the outer solid structure of reality. That was one of the lessons that we had to learn, that we don't necessarily need it in order to acknowledge who we are, in order to remember. Well, maybe, to remember, it does help us to remember who we are, but we don't need it to define who we are. And that is really kind of, I guess, one of the keys to all of this. The keys to remembering is to recognize that all the experiences you have had in correlation to the the solidity of the structure of reality as it is, that in relation to that, you have not needed and do not need that in order to know who you are and in order to know what your purpose is. And that if it were that you believed it, then this is the moment in time where you're letting go of that as being the determining factor of how you will proceed forward from this moment on. So my words themselves have they come from like they come from a vibration that is of resonance to the higher truths and to the structures of reality that are now being born. And so what you resonate with is this aspect of unfolding of reality. And in many ways, it can begin to define any of the struggles that you have had in your experience here, in that there really were no words and there were no solid there was not that level of solidity of explanation that you could have other than, and that you can have other than what you find within yourself as truth, that then would help to create the level of meaning within yourself that will help you to embrace who you are. All there is what you find when you look deep within yourself and unravel all of the layers of protection that you have put around yourself. And as solid as that protection would seem to be for many others, it has never proved to be that as an experience for you. And this is because the truth is that you never needed it. You never needed the protection in the first place. This is what you're beginning to remember. And I'm happy about that. So I will leave the message here. Until next time, Keepers of Light.